All right, welcome back. Now let's dive into the coaching system. How does our coaching system, the methodology via which we get results with clients, work, and how will you implement that in your business? Okay, so we're really diving into the how now, the how-to stuff. What is the difference between coaching and consulting? We'll dive into how will you deliver the coaching and what will the coaching look like, sort of thing. And that takes us into the alignment system, the 13-week coaching cycle, the growth club format, because there's a format for doing that every 90 days, the membership format, and really break down all of your service offerings. That's what we're going to try and do, or what we're going to do here today, to make sure that you understand what is the business and how does it operate. So, coaching versus consulting. Let's first of all dive into this one just a little bit. If I can start with the philosophy of the consultant, essentially, philosophically, comes in, finds a singular problem, helps fix that singular problem, and then leaves. Usually a consultant is fairly specialized in the area that they're going in to fix. Coaching, on the other hand, is more education-based. Coaching is more about how do we build this person so they can solve the problems themselves, and not us going in and doing it for them. It's them doing it themselves, us building that person up. Similar to coaching, I guess, in sport versus having the main coach or the head coach in sport versus having the physical strength trainer in a sporting team type thing. And so in a lot of cases, people are really more used to having a consultant who gives them answers, whereas the coach uses a lot more questions, I guess, is the thing. And that view of problem solving being about learning and development rather than just giving you the solution. The old teach them to fish instead of giving them a fish type thing is a big part of why coaching works long term, because you're not just solving the problem, you're helping them know how to solve the problem going forward in the future in any time that that example comes up. The nature of the consultant being the expert, and the nature of the coach being more the generalist, being more the person who asks the questions and helps them find the solution. Now, in most cases, as their coach, you will know the solution. And trust me, the easiest thing is to just tell them, hey, this is the solution. The problem is there's no buy-in, there's no actual ownership of it, and therefore the implementation and so on and so forth. I think you may have, at some stage in your career, seen the difference between coaching and consulting. So, the ActionCOACH coaching system, usually delivered in a 1-hour time slot per week, or if we're doing it bi-weekly, usually in a 90-minute time slot, okay? Some customers need weekly. They just need that accountability to be on the phone with them every week to hold them to accountability and deal with, if there's more issues, more things going on, then obviously you need to be there more often. And also some of your bigger customers, they definitely want weekly because they have multiple things going on that they're handling, and then multiple areas that they might need coaching on, whereas some of the smaller ones, every 2 weeks is plenty for them to be given enough to get done, because our biggest killer of coaching is overwhelm and confusion. So we make sure that we get them through their confusion into clarity, and make sure that we get them out of overwhelm into action. If you can think of those two things, confusion to clarity and overwhelm to action, then we're doing the right thing. All of the sessions are scripted, by the way. So there is no, hey, what do we do here? How do we do this? They're scripted. Now, not scripted to the word, but scripted to the section. Okay, so when you're doing a coaching session, or when one of your team is doing a coaching session, it's broken down into the areas that they need to cover, and they need to cover all of the areas, because otherwise what you do is you get lost in just having a conversation and chatting with them, or dealing with their latest issue and not moving on to proactive building of the business. So yes, you're sometimes going to have to deal with issues, but we still need to, by the end of the coaching session, have moved them into a proactive realm where they're doing it. So all those steps make sure that we add value and make sure that we get the results with the client. Every week they report their results. Every week they report their actions. They record those in. That can be done daily with some clients. There are some clients over the years that have needed daily reporting of numbers and daily reporting of actions just because they need that level of accountability. It won't be long that they need that. And when I talk about reporting, it's not hard to click a button or send a note, but when you're agreeing homework and when you're agreeing the playbooks that need to be filled in, it's important for them to do that. You know, the accountability factor is one of the big things they are investing in coaching for. They're investing in you, helping them to build that further. All right, so keep that one in mind. And by the way, when you get to the technology system or the technology video, you'll see how a lot of that stuff is done, okay, through our technology and through the way the coaching is managed with them. So we do a thing called an alignment. Now, let me explain this to you a little bit. So when you first meet a new client, or when you first get together with a new client, the alignment system is it's a multi-hour. Some of them will be done in 2 hours. Some of them will take 4 or 5 hours. Larger corporations can take a full day to do this, and your pricing is obviously according to that. But what we're trying to do here is the word alignment. Okay. Now, what do I mean by the word alignment? I mean that you've got to align them and their business. Now, if they're partners, you've got to align the partners as well. I've had conversations with husband and wives that own a business and work together, and I've asked them their dreams and goals and what do they want out of the business and how do they want the business, and they're both just looking at each other. They don't know. And it's like, how do you not know each other's dreams and goals? You're married, for goodness sake. Have you not had this conversation? And of course, no, they have not had that conversation. And so aligning the partners, aligning them and what they want out of the business with the business. Like if they sit down and say, you know, I want the business to be doing this, I want to be able to travel, I want to be able to do this, I want to be able to do that. Great. So we need how many weeks a year does the business need to be able to run without you? And then once we've aligned them and their business, then it's aligning all of that with you and a plan. Okay, so those 5 things come together where we take their life goals and their business goals and we bring them together. We marry that with a plan and with you. And so them, you, the business, everything is in alignment and going in one direction. Motivation. Let me just put this to you. When I've found I get more results out of someone because I lead them rather than teach them in the beginning. I get them focused on their dreams and goals. And amazingly, when they find that inner drive, that inspiration, that motivation, amazing how much the business grows. No strategies have changed. We haven't implemented any strategies yet. All we've done is get them passionate about their business again. Helping them fall back in love with their business is a big part of what the alignment is all about. Helping them see their business as the vehicle to get them to their dreams and goals. Kind of like for you with the Action Coach firm, how does the firm or multiple firm territories, how does that get you to your dreams and goals is really what's important right now. Not the actual strategies that you will use, but how does it fit? I think is probably the best thing that we look at with that. So that then takes us to the 13 weeks coaching structure. And how does that work? Well, what we do in the 13 weeks is basically a repetition. And I say 13 weeks. It can be 12 weeks some quarters and 13 other quarters. But during the year, it's 12 or 13 weeks process. The first week, we create their 90-day plan. Now, when you first meet with a new customer, when you sit down with them, one of the big things you do, and I'll take you through this in our onboarding program in a couple of videos' time, we build their first 90-day plan with them, okay? And during that coaching period of that 12 weeks, and some of them come in mid-quarter, some of them at the end, it doesn't really matter. We fit them into the process. But we build that into how do they know where they're going. Because if I was blunt with you, the average business owner, and you ask them how many hours a month or a year do they spend planning, I'm pretty sure you'll guess the answer is very round. So we get them together for one day every quarter, and we do that. It's called Growth Club. I'll explain that in a little more in a bit. From that plan, we then spend the next 10 or so weeks, depending upon the quarter, going through the process. Now, we challenge and support them. We use several different things that we do, okay? So the grow and the lion forms, you will learn this through your training, okay? What is the daily forms? What's the weekly forms? What's the acronyms, and why do we use that? It is a systemic approach to them getting the results. You follow the script each coaching call, but you're also there for congratulations. You're also there for consequences of not doing what they agreed to do. So that's part and parcel of the coaching process of what their daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly reporting will look like with you. And again, when you get to the technology segment, you'll see a lot more of that in detail. Last week of the quarter is reviewing the 90 days. What results did we get? What did we not get? Where could we have done better? Where did we do great that we did better than we anticipated? Why did we do better than we anticipated? And really just reviewing everything and getting them ready to set up their plan for the next quarter. Now, once they've been with you for a period of more than 1 year, maybe a year and a half type thing, then you start them on the annual planning process, okay? So it's a 2-day, at the end of the year, they take 2 days to plan not just quarter one, but they also plan the full year for next year. So it's a really interesting process to work them through, and the forms, the documents, the workbooks, or the playbooks as we call them, these will be helping you work them through it. So it's not you making this up, it's you facilitating and walking them through the process. Where your brain really needs to kick in is what goes into it, not how does the system actually evolve. So we go through 2 different methodologies of growing. We grow the business and we grow the owner. Okay, so let's first of all take a look at where we grow the business. We start with mastery, okay, and one of the videos here will go into more detail around this, but the mastery is really 4 areas of mastery that we work with a business owner on in the beginning. Now, most business owners, when they come to us, need to work at least 2 of the 4 areas. Fairly often, all 4 of the 4 areas need to be worked on, being the mastery of their money, their directions, meaning their goal setting, productivity mastery, meaning mastery of their time, and mastery of the delivery or the operation, and just getting the basics right on a day-to-day basis in their company. So it's really about getting them to run the business rather than the business running them. You know, the tail wagging the dog thing, let's flip that over. The niche or the marketing aspect of it is second. And so what we do there is we really get into our 5 ways formula. And if you want to jump on YouTube, you can see my 5 ways formula explained pretty in depth over there. What we do with that is really break it down to numbers, and break the numbers down to strategies, and take the strategies and improve each area by 10, 15, 20%. And that's really the goal of working through the marketing side of it, getting them buying customers rather than just hoping for new customers. We then work into the systems or the leverage side of it, and there's 9 steps to systems, and you'll notice the books. Everything's in a book, okay? And that way they can read it. Everything's on videos. The 30X business training program, which your clients get included, it's all in the technology platform. The learning management system. The 30X life, where they go through the success principles and how success happens. And eventually 30X wealth, when they're making extra money and where to invest it and what investing looks like, sort of thing. And we go to team building, again in the book, on the training program, but we take them through the 6 keys to a winning team and walk them through that process, or you will walk them through and educate them through that process of building the winning team. The synergies in that book right there, that's the 5 disciplines of exponential growth. So when we hit that scale model of the business, they really start to scale what they're doing and hit that scale coaching and the scale level of membership. And finally, the freedom or the results, whether they want to scale the business to sell, whether they want to scale the business to run without them, whether they want to partial sell, whether they want to use it for future acquisitions of other businesses. But it gets them free from the day-to-day of the running of the business. Now, on the flip side of that, we've got to grow them as well. So the entrepreneurial ladder is really about taking them through their growth path. You know, as an entrepreneur, a student is technically an entrepreneur. They're a negative entrepreneur, like at level -1, but they're learning to be an employee. An employee is learning to be self-employed. A self-employed person is learning to be a manager. A manager is learning to be an owner of the business. So each phase is learning the next phase. And there are different emotions, different views on money, different, one of the biggest things you'll coach people on is letting go. You know, they got into business for themselves in some way, shape, or form because they're a bit of a control freak of something. And so helping them learn to allow other staff to do that. So there's a lot of emotional and personal characteristics that they'll grow through in that. And some of that is done by you. Some of that's done by the education, by the books, by the online video training platforms. But some of that's also done. Our members over a period of time will attend BizX. BizX is included in their coaching and in their membership. And they come to that each year and get out of their comfort zone, learn from other great speakers from all over the world. And whether they attend virtually or live is up to them. But that knowledge base grows. They're also, for our members, we do an online university. And part one of those is called the Purpose Workshop, helping them grow personally and define what they want their life to be about and what their purpose is and where they're going with it. And another one of those is about scaling a business, and another one of the university is about buying and selling companies. Do they want to sell their business? Do they want to buy other businesses? You know, those sorts of things are part of the decision making. You get to come to all of those trainings included as well. Over a period of time, of course. We don't want to overwhelm you on day one with too much training. And finally, the landlord training. So they learn a bit about that level of investing. But as we grow them and we grow their business, then we hit the results that we want. And again, just a reminder, we do that through the 4 core of community, accountability, and education leading to results, the CARE philosophy of how you do that with them. So it's really important to consistently emphasize community and education and accountability leading to results. So I think I've harped on with that one enough. The product ladder or your service offerings. All the programs are basically either subscription, membership, or retainer based. It's all about recurring revenue. Once you get a customer, you keep that customer. So how you onboard them is really important. So whether it's a $99 a month book club right through to tens of thousands of dollars a month corporate coaching or executive training and coaching programs or business coaching at thousands a month, whatever it is, they're all based on that recurring royalty or recurring revenue model. Many of the programs, especially some of the smaller programs, are used as door openers. It might be a way to get into a business that it was a sales training got you in, but that then led you to be the executive coaching. Or it might be that management training was the starting point for a business owner, but then they went on to full-time coaching after that. So there's many ways for someone to start with us and many ways for them to grow with us. Growth Club, let's take a step through this. So remember we talked about the 13-week cycle. Well, part of that 13 weeks is doing their 90-day plan, and their 90-day plan is done in a group environment for 3 real reasons. The first is that we bring in more knowledge to the group, okay? So new knowledge can be added to the group rather than trying to do that in a one-to-one environment. We do that in a group environment or a community-based environment. Second reason is it gives us a really great platform to celebrate those who've had an amazing quarter. We really love celebrating our wins, the win wall, the green sheet. You'll learn about these as you get into the organization and you do your training. But taking them through that process of building their next plan is best done in a group scenario where they're brainstorming, they're talking about it with each other, they discuss it. I think I'm going to do this, maybe I should. What do you think of this? And getting that feedback from each other. Most of our growth clubs are broken into, so the morning will be together and the afternoon will be in breakout groups. based on the size or the problematic area. If someone's in that solopreneur, rarely do they need to be in the planning session in the afternoon with the people who are doing millions or tens of millions of dollars. So we need to make sure that they're in the right group, and therefore the education and the planning and the discussions are done at a level that makes sense for the people of that group. Getting their priorities done is the third reason. It's amazing how when you're at home or when you're trying to do that on your own, actually setting your goals and priorities is a fairly slow process. But when you're around other people, it's amazing how people will declare their goals, and that declaration of a goal, that public declaration, is really important. I think the other is the community aspect, the social time. We are very clear on making sure that our customers become friends. We really want our customers and our clients and our members, whichever languaging we want to use, to become friends with each other. They come for the education and they stay for the relationships type thing. They come for the results, but they stay for the relationships. And it really helps build group accountability when they have stronger relationships. And so social time definitely leads them to that. So membership. How does membership work? Well, membership is really about somewhere for people to belong. I think these days people want to belong to a group that represents them in the market. So being a member is really about being part of a business community. And the live events each month, whether it's the 2-day end of planning, whether it's the growth club, whether it's their monthly membership day, where they're doing their learning, or whether it's BizX, all of these different events are part of their growth and part of their learning and their community. The speakers come in every single month, myself and another one of my co-author friends, whether they're someone that's been on the BizX podcast with James or on the Big Success podcast with me. Many of our podcast guests then become trainers for our members. They record a 30-minute video to help our members learn that month, and you'll decide what video you use from the library of those of both me and of other trainers. Bigger groups, or when I say bigger groups, I mean groups where the owners have much larger companies, will want to learn from some of the videos that others don't want. Some of the smaller solopreneurs need some of the far more basics videos. When we get into high-level finances, this group over here is going, wow, this is amazing. This group over here is going, I have no idea what you're talking about. So those sorts of things are decisions that you'll make based on the makeup of your group and what's appropriate for them. But each month there's a new video, or at least one new video from an international speaker, and at least one from me that comes out into the market. Plus you've got all the 30x videos, plus a library or a back catalog of those sorts of things as well. The 2 levels, so those that do the morning session, that group will meet and just do the education program. They'll also do some celebrations, that sort of thing. The next group, or the next level of membership, they meet for a full day. And yes, they do the morning education session, then they do lunch together. And then in the afternoon, they'll actually do mastermind groups and hot seats. These are phenomenal sessions. The mastermind groups is obviously where they go around their group talking about what their biggest challenge is or their biggest opportunity is, and get coaching from the rest of the other owners in the room. It builds amazing bonds and amazing lessons. And even, it might not be my challenge, but if Mary had that challenge and Bob gave her an answer, or if Bob had a challenge and Mary gave her an answer, and I'm sitting going, wow, I can use that for my business, there's a lot of learning that happens. And then we do hot seats, and that's where you or one of your coaches will facilitate someone in front of the room that actually needs or wants coaching or represents some issue that the entire group is focused on. So maybe the group is having sales challenges, so you will coach 1 or generally 2 business people in front of the room and give them feedback and coach them on their sales, and the whole room learns as you coach them in front of the group. It's a phenomenal session. You'll learn the scripting and the process for it when you go through training. Their online education, weekly online education is offered to them, available to them. As I said, we produce 2 podcasts every month, every week. Yeah, it's a lot. 2 podcasts that go out, and one goes out, the BizX podcast, and one goes out, the Big Success podcast. They go out. All of that information goes out to all of the members every quarter, so there's always something they're learning from or a guest they're learning from, so that there's a thing. You'll also run a Book of the Month program, so all of your people will be studying a book each month and getting them moving through learning the newest, the latest, the greatest, not just the basics. 12-week programs. You've heard me mention these a few times. Let me get into some details. Sales, management, marketing, leadership. What happens, the best way we can train, like if we got a sales team that needs to learn sales, and let's say your client has a team of 12 salespeople, right? Instead of going in for a day, training them a whole bunch of stuff, which they might use 2 or 3 things because they'll forget most of it, what we do is we do a half-hour online learning, and that's me. Okay, I deliver that half-hour online learning. It's subtitled in multiple languages around the world. But that training gets done, and they can watch it anywhere of their week, anytime. They've just got to have done it before. You then have a 1-hour facilitated session. And in that 1-hour facilitated session, you go over, okay, what happened last week? So what did you learn? How did you apply it? What results came from it? Then the second half of that 1-hour facilitation is, okay, what did you learn from this week's video? What did you learn? You go around the group, obviously get all the learnings. Then you say, okay, what are you going to do based on that? How are you going to apply it? Where are you going to apply it? You might role play a couple of things, and then you'll send them on their way. And so and the reason we do it over 12 weeks is obviously ingrained habit, but also so that there is enough bite-sized chunks to get enough value for the program, but most importantly so they can get results during the program. See, if by week 3 or 4 you're doing the management one, and all of a sudden one of them has learned a technique to get more productivity out of one of their people, or they've learned a technique to be able to better manage a problem employee or get someone to turn up on time, and they come back and report that to the group, it's an amazing win in front of the group that gets real results in the whole thing. I think I've already touched on that. You facilitate that 1-hour meeting, the half-hour online. I guess if you look at running that in-house, it's fairly simple to do. But if you also want to do it for a public program, meaning, 10 or 20 of your members have a person to put into that program, then they can do it as well. Lots more of those coming over the coming years, but I think that's a fairly basic summary. So just in summary of the system, with one-to-one clients, we bring them on board through the onboarding program, which we'll go through in a couple of videos' time. But once we've got them on board, then we do an alignment with them. We get them aligned with their business, their goals, their partners, with you, and their plan. Okay, from there, we get them into a 90-day cycle where every 90 days they come together, they plan the business themselves, maybe some other partners in the business, maybe an employee or 2. They build that plan, and then they actually go about working with you for the next 10, 11 weeks, coaching them through what they put in the plan. Then we review the plan and we come back to it. Your coaching system is scripted and walked through. Not scripted to the word, but scripted to the sections of what you need to cover off on, how you need to cover off on it. In your coach training, you'll actually learn the languaging and all of those things. Remember, the owner or the firm owner training is 10 days. Well, the coach training is 5 other days to be able to make sure that you pick up all of the skills of coaching, not just the how to run a business. I think some people often ask me, what's the important thing? I said, remember that becoming a firm owner, we're teaching you how to run a business coaching business, how to build a business coaching business. Not the coach training teaches you how to be a coach. The most important thing is to understand how to build a commercial, profitable business, and that's what the firm owner training is. Then ultimately, you've got all the other programs that you can offer with that. So, next video is about how we get members, how we get clients into the business, the marketing side of it, what we do to actually do that. But I just want to remind you of coming back to the thing of the vision of world abundance through business or education. I know that making a decision like this is one that's both exciting and scary at the same time. You know, like, am I really ready to do this? Do I really want to do that? Yeah, it's exciting and scary at the same time. But ultimately, what you've got to make a decision on is, does this fit you? And then if we decide that you fit us, fantastic. Let's run with this thing. Let's make it super successful. I'll see you in the next video. Let's talk about how you're going to get clients and get members into the business.